In this video, we're going to explore how we can create our own HTML version of the legend. Because right now we have this part here, and if you've seen it in my previous videos, you'll probably understand now almost how we're going to do it. Just let's look here, or let's look at our data visualization of material design at material.io, where they give the suggestion what is the correct way. Of course, this doesn't have to be really the correct way, but if you look at it, it makes quite a lot of sense compared to the other one where you have multiple colors, figuring out which one is connected with what. For example, here, the first one, A, is for this month, all right, that's the purple line, and then the red line is last month's, previous month. So as you can see here, those are connected with each other. Well, this can be confusing. So if you look at this here, it's slightly smarter way. You have a solid line here, and then you have a dotted line indicating the historical or the previous data from a previous month where there's a comparison, as these two are compared with each other, and these two here are compared with each other as well. So what we want to do is create very similar structure here, but we have a problem, and our problem is the following. We don't have this option in standard ChartJS. Standard ChartJS will just give you colors here. If you let me show you, as you can see here already, there are some options here to remove maybe this, but not really that much. And if we go back here, well, let me show you, we are going to add up a few items. It's going to add up another item here. Let's put in a comma and then paste, and then I'll say this is cost, and then this is 1 1 3 3 3 1. All right, let me say here red, and I'll just remove all the animation that we don't need because it's just redundancy. If you're interested in the animation, check out my other videos. So I'll just copy one more and then say this is index 2, and we paste this here, and this will be index number 3. All right, so this is cost 2020, and then we have 2 2 2 2 4, and then we say here 4. All right, so we save this, and then, well, red, well, let's say this is pink, so it's slightly a different color. Refresh, and there you are. So you can see here now this is nice, but of course many colors here confusing, it creates all trouble. So what we want to do now is to improve this. So how do you improve it? And I can see here right now you have the animation in here that creates maybe a bit more issues. So let's say this one is black instead of red because there is a animated item in here. As you can see, this is the red green item that's animated. So even if you would animate it, it might give you an issue here. And you can see here our legend. Let's set it to the bottom. Oh, all right. As you can see here, it's nice, not suitable, doesn't really help you out here as well. So how can we make this more easier? Well, let's start and work with a coded line. So you can see immediately that the pink and the black are matching together, and the blue or the what is that? This is probably the red and greenish color, I think, right now. Well, let's see which one is blue. All right, so this is supposed to be blue, but it's becoming red green. So I'll just say here red. This will be red then, fair enough. So the revenue red. And then we have this one. So let's start and work with the dotted lines, and we're going to move these down here. So, well, a dotted line is not that important, but what I want to do is I want to work on this part here. We're going to get all of this, put it down here, and make it far more appealing. Very similar to what we have here. So we have two lines here, and then after we have this month, last month. Fair enough. So that would reduce the amount of the legend details. So what are we going to do? First of all, we're going to work here on this part, and we need to understand here what we're going to do. And this is we're going to create an unordered list. Oh, sorry. UL, and then in here we're going to work with the list item, and these are the list items. So what we need to do here, class is list unstyled. I'm using Bootstrap 5, so this is the reason why I remember all of these codes, because these are very consistent with list unstyled, and then list Am I correct? This item, I'm not sure. I forgot about that one, but that doesn't matter for now. So let's get here ABC. Nope. You just copy all of these. There we are. All right. So we have ABC here. That's fair enough. It's already in there, so I don't have to put in list item in here. Fair enough. So what we want to do now is basically insert these values in here. So what we're going to do is first to figure out, we have here the legend. So how will we position this? Well, we could position it like this, but that's all right. What we need to do first then is the color. So we're going to get the color and then we get the text. So the color should be a line. So we need to make here a line. Probably for this, we'll be using a border, or you can use a horizontal line. But then in that case, a horizontal line, we should have some styling as well to make sure it's not big enough. Or maybe we can use a class. Let's double check if we can use a class. And then we say in this class with 25. All right. Let's see. All right. So that doesn't work because we will not be able to be between there. Is there a way to do it? Of course, there is. We can use this inline. That's probably the one we can do. And then we say inline item. That's the item I was looking for. So we got this. Let's copy all of these. And then we have here, in reality, we break this down, put here the next item in here. So, and then we say here a break. Or we can put the break probably in. So let's see if this break that we added up here works correctly. Alright, do I see a line here? Horizontal line. I don't see anything, so let's refresh this one more time to make sure. Double check here, open up the developer tab, and let's double check what do we have here. Does it work as what I'm expecting? The horizontal line here, I don't see anything. Alright, fair enough, that does not work. We're going to do it differently. Probably we have to make here we'll work here on a line. So right now what I will do here then is I'll just put in here a div class, or more better a style. Can we do that? That's probably not the best way to do it. Let's leave it as it is. I'm going to put in here a item first. Let's just put in a circle, or that's fine. That will be the best option. Then what I will do here is I will remove this. This will be not necessary. What we're going to do here is you're going to put a span. This span will contain the text. The text of the item. So here we have this, and then we can do here the ID items. And later on we can just check how we can do this. Good. Then this will be probably a span as well. Span, of course. And we say here an ID. Alright. So we've got this, and then we have this, and then we have basically the most important one. If you look at this, then I'm now questioning why are we even having this. Probably you can remove this by just making it a paragraph. This paragraph contains just all the essentials in here. So that will make more sense. Alright. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just duplicate this. We can even put them all together. Alright. And what we will do here is here we're going to put in the ID, and then it will be also an ID. So what we'll say here is line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. Alright, and here will be line text 1, 2, 3, and 4. So then this doesn't have to be anymore an item. All right, so let's do that. That makes far more sense, and I can put in a break if I desire to just put it here. So we could do it like this, but we could do it here at the second line. So we have these two here, very similar to this. So fair enough. This is fine. We don't have to spend too much time on it anymore. So we got this now. Let's start and connect all these colors fast. So what are we going to do here is basically the following. We're going to have this. We have this part here. You understand this already if you've seen my previous videos, but now we're going to remove this. What I will do is just remove it and just explain again to make sure you understand it. So what we're going to do now is, first of all, we have these ID lines. So we say here constant ID line, and then we say here document get element by ID, and then we say here line 1. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make more enters. Fair enough. And I'm going to copy this multiple times, and then after we will copy this one more time, and then we just look here line text 4 or line text. Line text 4 1, and copy this 3 more times. All right. So once we've got this, what we're going to do next is to number them all correctly together. And as you can see now, we're going to just match them up. There we are. So we have these now. Now we have connected. What we really did was follow. We connected JavaScript together with HTML. So HTML and JavaScript are now communicating with each other, understanding that these are specific items that JavaScript needs to focus on to look in HTML and back and forth. So what we're going to do now is to create the legend, or at least the values of the legend, matching them all with these here. So what we're going to say here is the following. We can say here line 1 dot, what we want to do here, because this is the line, so what we want to get here is the border color. So how do we get the border color? So let me explain here the border color. You go from chart, the constant of my chart, then you go to data, then to data sets. Depending on the data sets, we have now the index number here. So index number 0, the first element, second element, index number 1, etc., etc. These are arrays. This is essential. So we're going to get these, and then we say my chart, data sets, and then we're going to match them. So we already know line 1 is data set 1 or data set 0, sorry. So we say here my chart, go to data and then data sets dot and data sets, and then which data set 0, that's the index. And then what we want to extract here is exactly the background color or border color. I would say go for border color. That's probably the best. All right. So once we have the border color, then that is it. All right. So we've got all of this, and then now I realize that we don't have to do it like this. We say here the following. We will say here style dot border color equal this. All right. So what we're going to do is we pinpoint this. So to double check if this is really correct, we can also do a console log and put in this information here to see and to validate if we get the right color. So what's the color of border color index 0? Well, this index 0, the border color will be green. All right, double check. Let's save this, go back here and refresh. You can see here, do we see it's green? Well, I don't see yet, so let me double check here. You got an array here, the array says green. However, this one here, I'm not able to see it clearly, so let's double check. Border color equals this. What are we missing here? Style and border color. All right, sorry, this is not border color, and the reason why this is like a line with dash. So we need to say here color. This is a font color. As we refresh, you can see here now, I'm not sure if you're able to see it, it's slightly different in color. So we got step 1. Now what we want to do as well, we want to do this exactly the same, but then we will do it 3 more times for every other line. And it's 1, 2, and 3, and then refresh. There you are. We get now these colors. Now what we can do is we can match the text. Let's go with the text. Well, it's exactly the same. We can almost copy this, and then we just put in our text line. There we are. And now all we have to do now is to change. What do we want to get? We want to get the text. So what are we going to get? We will get the label. Label is this one here. So we go from label. So that would mean, let's double check here. We go from my chart with data, data set, label. All right. So we say here, my chart, data, data set, label. Once we've got that, we need to adjust this one because this is not anymore HTML or CSS stuff, code, but this is now HTML or more specifically inner text. Yes, so we want to just adjust the inner text. Whatever we have there should match now with our current part of the chart. So if I save this, you can see here we have now all text. Just refresh. Now everything else is starting to change. Well, is it correct? No. Let's double check here. What are we missing? Inner text, dataset, label 1, 2, and 3. Are we missing something here? We have the label. And let's go back here. This is the label. So let's start and explore what's going on. Alright, so I thought I made a mistake in my code, but apparently the mistake is just only here. So my apologies for that. That's of course a very messy mistake. Alright, so we've got all of this now. The thing now is we need to create here a dotted item or a dashed style. So how are we going to do this? Well, basically, if we look here, this is a dotted one. What we could do is to use just 3 triple dots in here. So let's look at our line. We have this, all right. And then we can put it in here. We could put in a triple dot like this. And probably we have to move that, or else we need to rebuild our things. But basically what we could do here is probably move this to the upper part. So what I want to do is I want to move the text here in a new position. So as you can see here, I think probably this is the baseline. Content align baseline. Let's double check if this works. No. Content align center. It doesn't work as well. Most likely we have one of those. Let's check if ever we change. Do we see it moving? Alright, sadly enough this doesn't work. So that means we need to find an alternative. So I'm going to work on an alternative for this. However, this is the most important part you already did. So this here will be easier to solve because now we can start to adjust colors. Because if we look here, what are the colors? Well, this is, they use here a gray color and then here again a gray color, trying to indicate just specifically this here. And we don't want maybe then, in our case, as you can see here, we would not even want to have this month, last month. Or we would want to have this instead of what we did here. We just get here the historical data. So we have to check around on that as well. So I will get back to you. We're going to this one. I'll just pause the video and then explore just how we can put this in the center. Alright, so after some Googling around, I'll figure it out. We can just use the mid dot. Ampersand mid dot semicolon. And then we'll create a dot in the center, which is quite nice. Or you can use a thicker dot here, depending on what you want. But I saw this and I thought, well, this is fair enough because this is a UTF code, which is perfect for us. Because that would mean it will create a nice center. And you can see now we get the perfect center. So what we want to do now is the following. We want to match these kind of things here. So we have here last month, this month. Of course, depending on what you want. Maybe it's last year, this year. Assuming here in this case, our item is, depending on the year, we're just going to put in here last year and this year. So this line code here officially is not necessary in our case, I realize, because it should be just gray, dark gray. We can just use here class. So I'm going to remove the ID here, and I will do the same here because this is just hard coded. So this would be last year, and this is this year. All right. Then we can remove this, and here is a class, and then we say text, oh, I'll just close that, sorry. Text dark. That should be the bootstrap version of it. Remove that one, there we are. And once we save this, let's refresh, open up here. So there we are. Alright, so that would be one of the options. Then we can see here why we have text on the upper ones. Let's double check. Line 1, line 2, text. You can check if you get some errors. Most likely there is error. Can I read property of style? Alright. Alright, so these are all errors. That's why it cannot read it. No problem. That would mean we need to remove these two here, of course. Because these are now redundant. Can I read those? Fair enough. Refresh. Now it can read it beautifully. So now we have our item here, but you do see it's maybe quite hard. And what we could do here is probably to make it bold. So what we're going to do here, we're going to add up the font weight. So let's see here, we'll say here font weight bold. So this is to ensure that we have a very easy to read item here, because your goal here is to make sure that people can read it quickly. So there you are. It's not the most nicest, to be honest. I'm sure that there's probably a better font or better character that we can use, maybe a longer dash. You can search for that as well, but that's alright. You can probably figure that one out yourself. However, the matching colors are now here. What we're going to do now is to adjust the line colors. And right now we have dark, so what I would say here, I assume in this case as well, everything will be dark. Oh, these are all redundant as well. Let's remove that. And let's see here, this is the cost. What we're going to do now is here we have the red. Let's double check. The red is 2021 revenue and the green is 2020. Alright, so red and green should be green. That makes sense. Green. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this animation because this animation is creating too much chaos for us. So we're going to just put that out. Alright. Here, this will be green as well. This is 2020. Alright. Then we're going to do here, the other one is black. Well, in our case, we can make this. Let's say we'll make this blue. Or, yeah, blue is fine, and this is also blue. But now what we want to do is we want to give it a dotted. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add here a dotted line. So we say here border dash, and in here we'll just indicate this is an array. Let's say here 10. The line of the item is 10, and then the gap between. So there's a 10 pixel long line, and then there's a 5 pixel gap. So that will be fine, and then we can do exactly the same with the 2020. But this already has it. You can see it already has the same thing here. Did I have here everything? Alright, fair enough. It's all done here. Now, as you can see, it starts to become better. Are we still having any confusion here? Still slightly, to be honest, because the lines are quite through everything. But fair enough. What we're going to do now is we're going to hide this here, and I'm sure you can probably make this far more better if you spend some time on it. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I noticed that this video is quite long. So what we're going to do now is the only thing what I will do is remove the legend. I'm going to hide it. So display false. Once we did that, save that. Now we have our own legend here. Is this the nicest legend? To be honest, I find it quite ugly. But alright, I'm sure with some fine tuning, if you really want to make it nice, you can do it with a square box. A square box you put in here like a color input, and then if you've seen other videos of mine where I create a nice legend where you can adjust the color and adjust the text. So that might be an option as well, but if I look at this, fair enough. I will accept it for now. Is it nice? To be honest, I'm quite disappointed in the design. And maybe I am, of course, making some mistakes here, because this needs to be not if I look here, you can see here they use this A for both options and B is for both. So probably here should be revenue. This should be only revenue, and this should be cost in our case, because this is the cost. The blue would be the cost, ours revenue, and this should be blue as well. So that's it for now, and I will probably make a complete nicer one because I like this, and for some reason the way it looks in our design here, it looks absolutely horrible. So, but if you have any suggestions, put them in the comment section below, and if you have any questions regarding to this, you can put them as well here. I will try to get back to you. And if you like these kind of videos, I want to get really deeper into the legends of ChartJS, check out my ChartJS course. You can find a link in the description box.